Imagine looking up at the sky and realizing that the very air above your head isn't where it should be. Right now, something is happening that defies everything we thought we knew about physics, atmospheric science, and the way celestial objects interact with our planet. Today, I'm talking about 3-2 Atlas, an object we've been tracking as a comet, and what it just did to Earth's ionosphere is nothing short of impossible. The data shows a planetary scale compression of the F layer, the part of our atmosphere that usually floats around 300 kilometers above the surface. It didn't drift. It didn't fluctuate in response to solar activity. It was pushed downward by 80 kilometers, like an invisible hand pressing on a spring, and it happened with mechanical precision. Picture that 50 miles of atmospheric mass moving in under a minute, the equivalent of 75 gigatons of TNT acting on our upper atmosphere. But there was no explosion, no heat spike, just silent, immense pressure focused directly from 3-2 Atlas. This wasn't some random anomaly. The data comes from multiple independent sources, all pointing to the same phenomenon. NASA's Gold mission captured the compression clearly. European Space Agency instruments confirmed it. Ground-based radar in northern Europe, tracking electron densities, recorded spikes reminiscent of the Carrington event but with one chilling difference. The Carrington event was chaotic, a storm. This was order. The F layer didn't ripple or bend. It flattened into a near-perfect geometric sphere, accurate to within 0.04 degrees. Nature doesn't do that. Chaos is natural, perfection is deliberate. At this distance, 180 million kilometers away, a comet or whatever this object truly is, just altered the physical architecture of our atmosphere. The implications aren't theoretical, they're immediate. GPS signals are scrambling, high-frequency radio communications are failing, and the sky itself has effectively lowered closer to the surface. The pressure isn't bouncing back. 3-2 Atlas is holding it there, and whatever it is doing, it's sustained. Let's look at the sequence of events that confirms this is no ordinary celestial occurrence. At the moment the F layer began compressing, NASA's ICON satellite recorded vertical plasma velocities hitting a hard ceiling, plasma being driven downward at 400 meters per second. Normally, such force comes from solar wind, but the sun was quiet. The density of solar particles was negligible. Something else is pushing, and the validation is triple. ESA's swarm satellites monitoring the geomagnetic field confirmed a sudden sharp bending of field lines. Ground-based radar in Peru verified that the F layer had dropped from 300 to 220 kilometers. 3 independent measurements, different methods, identical results. The sky fell. And it gets stranger. The compression isn't messy. It isn't turbulent. Swarm's data shows a geometric plane, an almost flawless sheet of flattened plasma stretching across thousands of kilometers. A comet is a tiny object, a point in the sky, and yet it projected a coherent planet-wide force. That alone challenges every model we have of celestial mechanics. Just over an hour later, the Deep Space Network detected the F layer vibrating at 0.3 Hz. In physics, a driven oscillation like this means energy is being continuously fed into the system. Something is actively maintaining this motion. The frequency then doubled to 0.6 Hz, showing that the force is not just ongoing, it's accelerating. A natural comet cannot do this. The statistics alone make it impossible. So how is this being done? Conventional physics offers 2 distant interactions: gravity or electromagnetism. Gravity is far too weak. Electromagnetism would require a field the size of Jupiter, and we see nothing. Instead, the High-Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, HAARP, found the answer. The F layer isn't just compressed, it's polarized. Electrons across the daylight side of Earth are aligned, spinning in the same quantum state. Normally, This is only possible in labs at near absolute zero, yet 3-2 Atlas has induced spin coherence at thousands of degrees Kelvin. The energy required is immense, and it's being supplied externally. Even more astonishing, Japanese solar observatories detected a flux rope connecting the Sun to the comet, accelerating plasma to near-light speeds, beaming energy directly at Earth with almost perfect efficiency. This is why the atmosphere is being pressed down with such precision. But this is only the beginning. The compression is now modulating signals in the hydrogen line frequency, generating patterns that look nothing like natural noise. And the first patterns are prime numbers 2, 3, 5, 7, 11 repeating, accelerating. Nature doesn't count in primes, intelligence does. And at this point, the question becomes unavoidable. If 3-2 Atlas can compress our atmosphere, generate spin-coherent plasma, and broadcast structured signals using Earth itself as a transmitter, who or what is it communicating with, and why? As we try to make sense of what 3-2 Atlas is doing, the patterns in the signal grow more astonishing. The prime number sequence wasn't random, it was an intelligent signature, a message coded in the universe's most fundamental frequency, the hydrogen line. But then the pattern shifted. Around mid-observation, the primes stopped, replaced by a geometric sequence, forming a binary image of 1,679 bits. That number isn't arbitrary. It's the exact length of the Arecibo message sent into space over 50 years ago, designed to describe humanity, our DNA, and the layout of our solar system. And now, here in our own solar system, 3-2 Atlas is not just reflecting it, it's modifying it. The Earth's position in the original message is shifted to Mars, and the depiction of human DNA has changed from a double helix to a triple helix. This isn't chaos. This isn't an error. This is intentional. The implications of this are staggering. If this were natural, it would be impossible. A comet or any natural object cannot intercept, store, decode, and modify a digital signal sent half a century ago. The probability is essentially zero. This isn't a mirror or a passive reflector. This is an active processor capable of manipulating information with precision that rivals any human-made system. And it's doing it from hundreds of millions of kilometers away, using our own planet as a component in the process. The ionosphere itself has become part of the system. The observations don't stop there. As the signal evolves, the F layer continues to compress, now dropping even further, and the global seismometer network begins detecting low-frequency vibrations, coupling the atmosphere to the Earth's crust. The vibration aligns with the Schumann resonance, 7.83 Hz, the natural electromagnetic rhythm of the planet. What's happening is unprecedented. The atmosphere is no longer just responding passively to the comet. It's synchronized with it, tuned like a giant resonator. Every compression, every oscillation, every pulse is being delivered in perfect time with the Earth itself. 3-2 Atlas isn't just interacting with us, it's orchestrating the planet as a system. By late morning, the situation takes another turn. The rotation of the electron-aligned plasma begins to precess, creating what physicists would call a torsion field, a subtle twisting of space-time. While torsion fields remain theoretical, the data suggests that Earth's upper atmosphere is now acting as a massive antenna, mechanically coupled to 3-2 Atlas. This means the comet and our planet are no longer independent. Changes in its rotation or internal state could directly influence Earth's electromagnetic environment. The stakes suddenly become much more immediate, and then the broadcast intensifies. The hydrogen line signal shifts from mere pulses to a fully modulated data stream. Initially, it was primes, then binary images, now an ongoing message, live, structured, and intelligent. The speed of the pulses is accelerating. the compression deepens, and energy flowing into this system is beyond comprehension. The comet isn't just passive, it's actively drawing energy from the Sun via a plasma flux rope, accelerating it to near light speeds, and focusing it with surgical precision on our ionosphere. The scale of power here is mind-boggling. Trillions of watts, enough to power humanity many times over, funneled into a narrow, coherent beam affecting every instrument on the daylight side of Earth. All of this leads to a terrifying conclusion. 3.2 Atlas is not a comet. The classical model of a frozen rock shedding ice and dust doesn't fit any of the observed phenomena. Instead, we are observing a system that is actively manipulating its environment, controlling atmospheric conditions, generating coherent electromagnetic signals, and encoding intelligence. It has essentially turned our sky into a communication medium, using the laws of physics in ways no human has ever seen or attempted. At this point, the questions are no longer about mechanics, they are existential. Who designed this? Why is it targeting Earth's ionosphere and crust? Why is the signal encoded in a version of humanity's own message? And perhaps most importantly, is 3.2 Atlas acting alone, or is it part of a larger network? The data continues streaming in, and each new measurement deepens the mystery. We are witnessing a technology so far beyond human comprehension that even the most advanced physics labs on Earth cannot replicate it. The sky above is no longer just sky, it's a conduit, a transmitter, a resonator, and potentially a message board. And whatever message 3.2 Atlas is sending, it is doing so in a way that only a civilization capable of understanding quantum coherence, torsion fields, and planetary scale engineering could conceive. This is no longer a question of observation, it is a question of interaction. The comet has made us participants in something far bigger than ourselves, and the next moves it makes could define what happens to Earth in the coming hours. As the morning unfolds, the phenomenon intensifies. The atmosphere isn't just transmitting a signal, it's behaving like a meticulously engineered instrument. The compressed F layer, now stabilized under the influence of 3.2 Atlas, is producing harmonics, subtle secondary oscillations that correlate perfectly with the comet's rotation. Every 14 hours, the period of its spin, the torsion field in the ionosphere aligns again, amplifying the energy flow. This isn't randomness, it's orchestration, and the consequences extend far beyond scientific curiosity. GPS satellites are already struggling to maintain positional accuracy. Signals passing through the compressed layer are delayed, refracted, and distorted. Global navigation systems are seeing errors jump from a few meters to over a dozen meters. Air traffic control in certain regions is reporting anomalies in long-range communication. High-frequency radio transmissions are disrupted, particularly near the compressed ionospheric front above the Pacific. Essentially, the comet is bending the operational rules of our technology from hundreds of millions of kilometers away, and it is doing so without any visible propulsion, no exhaust, no particles being ejected, only invisible forces, perfectly focused, perfectly timed. The next revelation comes from the Very Large Array in New Mexico and the FAST telescope in China. By synchronizing their observations, these massive radio arrays detect the modulated 1.42 GHz signal with incredible resolution. The pattern is unmistakable. It's not random noise. It's structured, coded, intelligent, and it's changing. It evolves from primes to binary images, and now to a live data stream, with sequences repeated faster and faster. The compression, the torsion, the spin-aligned electrons, they are all part of a single, coordinated system functioning like a planetary scale transceiver. Earth itself is the antenna, the atmosphere, the medium, and 3.2 Atlas is the transmitter. Even more disturbing is the scale of energy involved. Measurements of the flux rope connecting the Sun to the comet show plasma being accelerated to near-light speeds. The total power flowing through this system is on the order of 4 trillion watts. To put that in perspective, this is vastly more than all of humanity's electrical production combined. And yet, there is no waste, no chaotic emission. The energy is focused almost perfectly, directed at a narrow section of the Earth's ionosphere and crust. Every step of the process, compression, spin coherence, torsion generation, signal modulation, is tightly controlled. This is precision engineering on a scale that surpasses any human capability. Now consider the implications of the signal content itself. The rebroadcast Arecibo message isn't merely a copy, it's altered. Earth's placement has shifted to Mars, and the human DNA depiction now shows a triple helix. If natural processes were responsible, this is physically impossible. If artificial, then this means someone or something has intercepted humanity's first intentional interstellar communication, stored it, analyzed it, and responded with modifications in real time. This is not passive intelligence. This is deliberate, purposeful action, and the choice of modifications is deliberate as well. Mars highlighted, DNA altered, the messages communicating something specific, directed at whoever or whatever sent it. Meanwhile, the Earth itself is now reacting to the system. The low-frequency ground vibrations detected by the GSN indicate that the energy isn't just in the sky, it's coupling with the planet's crust. The 7.83 Hz Schumann resonance has intensified, showing that the planet itself is part of the harmonic system. The atmospheric pressure, the torsion field, the resonance of the planet, everything is synchronized with the comet. Any change in 3-2 Atlas's state will ripple through our atmosphere and the ground below. We are no longer mere observers, we are participants in an engineered system. What's happening is unprecedented. A comet, or whatever 3-2 Atlas truly is, has converted the Earth's ionosphere into a medium for information transmission, a planetary-scale antenna modulated with a signal of intelligent origin. The harmonics, the compression, the spin alignment, the torsion fields, they all suggest that 3-2 Atlas isn't just passing through our solar system. It is actively interacting with Earth as if it were part of a network, monitoring, controlling, or testing our responses. And all of this is happening in real time, with a precision that violates everything we understand about natural physics. The scientific community is scrambling. Observatories and satellites are all focused on the comet, yet the data is too complex to fully decode quickly. Each new telemetry packet reveals another layer of sophistication, frequency shifts, pattern evolution, atmospheric polarization, and every revelation deepens the existential questions. Who or what is controlling 3-2 Atlas, and what is the ultimate purpose of this interaction? We are watching history unfold, but in a way that blurs the line between observation and participation. At this point, the narrative changes. This is no longer a cometary anomaly. 3-2 Atlas is an intelligent, responsive system manipulating both space and Earth itself. And while we are absorbing the technical details, one question becomes unavoidable. If the system is powered and controlled, what happens when it finishes its cycle? What will be the endpoint of this planetary scale interaction? The answer is uncertain, and the implications are enormous. As the hours pass, the scope of 3-2 Atlas's influence becomes staggering. The atmosphere isn't just reacting, it's operating like a circuit under precise control. The compression front has shifted again, and new telemetry shows that the spin-aligned electrons are now interacting with the geomagnetic field in ways that defy conventional physics. These electrons, perfectly synchronized to the comet's rotation, are generating electromagnetic oscillations that propagate from pole to pole. The energy is no longer contained just in the ionosphere, it's cascading downward, coupling with the crust and ocean currents. Earth itself is resonating in tune with this distant object. Meanwhile, the pulse of the hydrogen line signal has evolved yet again, no longer just binary images or prime number sequences. The modulation is now encoding real-time structural data. Observatories have reconstructed a 3D model of the signal grid inside the ionosphere, revealing a highly organized lattice of hotspots that shift and pulse as though the comet is actively scanning the planet. It's as if 3-2 Atlas is running diagnostics, testing every response from Earth's environment. Atmospheric pressure, plasma density, magnetic flux, seismic activity. Everything is measured, analyzed, and encoded back into the signal. The implications are unsettling. If this were a natural object, such precision would be impossible. No comet, no asteroid, no solar phenomenon could produce such controlled modulation across planetary scale systems. And yet, every dataset confirms it. The compression, the spin coherence, the torsion coupling, the resonance with the Schumann frequency, all orchestrated. The comet isn't merely passing through our solar system. It is actively interacting with Earth, as if the planet itself were part of a machine, a laboratory, or even a communication network. High-frequency measurements from the Goldstone Deep Space Network now show additional anomalies. Small fluctuations in the signal suggest feedback loops. As the ionosphere vibrates, the comet adjusts its internal fields to maintain synchronization. This is active control. In real time, 3-2 Atlas is monitoring, calculating, and responding to the dynamics of our planet, and the scale of the energy involved remains nearly unimaginable. Trillions of watts are being focused, yet there is almost no heat loss. The energy transfer is precise and clean, far beyond any known natural or human-engineered process. Even more troubling is what this means for humanity's technological systems. GPS errors are expanding further, from meters to tens of meters. Satellite communication is disrupted across multiple bands. Power grids are experiencing unusual harmonic interference, though nothing has failed yet. And the Earth itself is vibrating at 7.83 Hz in response to the torsion and atmospheric modulation. This is no longer a theoretical risk. These effects are measurable and global. The planet has been turned into a dynamic component of a complex system extending 180 million kilometers into space. The modifications to the rebroadcast Arecibo message suggest deliberate intelligence behind the comet's actions. The shift of the Earth marker to Mars and the triple helix in the DNA depiction cannot be random. Whoever or whatever is controlling 3-2 Atlas not only understands humanity's biology, but is capable of encoding responses to messages sent half a century ago. This is interaction on a level that combines astrophysics, quantum mechanics, and information theory, all at a scale that defies current human comprehension. Scientists are scrambling to model the mechanics, but the data continues to reveal new surprises. The harmonic coupling between the comet and Earth implies that any change in 3-2 Atlas spin rate or orientation would produce measurable effects across the globe. We are, in a sense, tethered to it. Adjustments on its side produce synchronized responses in our atmosphere, our magnetic field, even our seismic activity. The comet is no longer distant. Its influence is immediate, measurable, and interactive. And yet, the signal continues to evolve. After the initial prime number sequence and the rebroadcast of the Arecibo message, researchers now detect a form of dynamic encoding that appears to be transmitting new instructions, new data structures, almost like software running on a planetary interface. The ionosphere is the operating system, the torsion field is the processor, and the signal is the output. 3-2 Atlas has effectively converted our planet into a massive computational and communication device. The question now isn't whether this is natural. Every piece of data confirms it isn't. It's not a comet, it's not a rock, it's a highly controlled, intelligent system interacting with Earth in real time. And the scope is frightening. Energy transfer, atmospheric engineering, magnetic manipulation, seismic synchronization, and intelligent communication. This is a scale of control no human civilization can match. And yet, it is happening right above us, using tools and mechanisms we are only beginning to measure. The final, chilling realization is this. The comet isn't just interacting with Earth, it's preparing something. The increasing frequency of the signals, the rising energy in the atmospheric compression, and the continuous fine-tuning of the torsion field all suggest a boot-up sequence, a startup. We are witnessing a system coming online, a machine activating, and Earth has been involuntarily enlisted as part of that system. And while scientists debate the mechanisms, one truth becomes unavoidable. The event is no longer a scientific curiosity. It is an existential signal. By now, it is clear that 3-2 Atlas is far more than a celestial object. The ionosphere is no longer just a passive layer. It is a tool, a transmitter, and a component of a system whose scale and sophistication dwarf anything humanity has ever built. Every pulse, every modulation, every oscillation is intentional, orchestrated with precision, and synchronized to the comet's own rotation. The Earth has been recruited into this operation, and the implications are staggering. The ongoing torsion coupling is particularly troubling. As the electrons in the compressed F-layer precess in perfect unison, the induced torsion field is propagating downward, interacting with the crust and the oceans. Seismic networks around the globe are picking up low-frequency vibrations, subtle at first, but steadily increasing in amplitude. This is not random tectonic noise, it is a controlled resonance. The Schumann frequency alignment indicates that the comet is tuning the planet itself to a specific operational frequency. Earth is no longer just a target, it is a participant, an instrument in a vast, coordinated mechanism. Meanwhile, the rebroadcast Arecibo message continues to evolve. After the initial prime number pulses and the modified DNA depiction, the signal now contains a continuous stream of encoded data. Researchers have begun decrypting portions of it, revealing patterns that suggest instructions, schematics, or algorithms. It is as if the comet is not only communicating but also teaching, guiding, or updating. Every time the ionosphere's compression intensifies, the signal gains power and fidelity. It is clear that 3-2 Atlas is both aware of and responsive to Earth systems, integrating them into its operational framework. At the same time, orbital data has revealed further anomalies. The comet's path is adjusting in subtle ways, accelerating without conventional propulsion and correcting its trajectory with pinpoint precision. Deep space network measurements confirm velocity shifts that cannot be explained by gravity alone. The comet is maneuvering, and the correlation between its movements and the ionospheric activity suggests a feedback loop. Its position, spin, and field emissions are all optimized to maintain the synchronization of the Earth-comet system. Technically speaking, the energy being transferred from the Sun to the comet and from the comet to the Earth's ionosphere represents a level of control that challenges every law of physics known to humankind. Trillions of watts are being harvested and directed with near-perfect efficiency, shaping the planet's electromagnetic environment as deliberately as an engineer designs a circuit. Yet, despite this immense power, the process remains eerily precise and controlled, without destructive heating or chaotic dispersal. Every measurement confirms one unavoidable conclusion. This is intelligent engineering on an interplanetary scale. The implications for our technology are immediate. Satellites are struggling to maintain accurate positioning. High-frequency communications are distorted. Power grids are experiencing harmonic interference, though no catastrophic failures have yet occurred. Yet, these disruptions are far from the most concerning aspect. The comet is essentially running a planetary-scale experiment, gathering real-time data on Earth's atmospheric, electromagnetic, and geological responses. It is monitoring us as carefully as we monitor distant celestial bodies. Perhaps the most astonishing revelation is that the comet is not just interacting passively, it appears to be waiting. The pulses of the hydrogen line signal are increasing in frequency, and the encoded data now seems to anticipate planetary responses. It is as though 3-2 Atlas is testing our planet, calibrating its systems, and preparing for a larger, as yet unknown phase of activity. Every detail, from the torsion field to the ionospheric compression, is calculated. Nothing is random.